It is actually mental to think how different WWE is right now in comparison to, say, 2 months ago. It is insane how quickly something can turn around. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Ewan McQuaid, and today we are talking about Monday Night Raw, something I never really thought I'd be fully doing on this channel. This isn't going to be a full review. This is going to sort of just be my opinion on Triple H taking over, because I haven't really addressed that yet. Not fully anyway. I've addressed Vince retiring, I've addressed SummerSlam, but actually getting into the nitty gritty stuff about Triple H taking over, I've not fully done that and fully expressed how I feel about it. One word, happy. Let's put it that way. I'm incredibly happy, incredibly excited for the future of the main roster. And that is because I have so much faith in Triple H, because he's given me such great memories. Okay, so I'll take you back. NXT TakeOver. Can't remember which one. I want to say it was Brooklyn. Definitely wrong. Bobby Roode versus Drew McIntyre. It was the first sort of big NXT main event that I watched, and the Undisputed Era run in. Great match between the two, Bobby Roode and Drew McIntyre. And that introduced me to NXT. And I followed NXT pretty much as a diehard from that point up until they moved to TV, in which they were competing with AEW. But that span of probably about, how long would it have been? Maybe 3-4 years, is probably the most consistent run of wrestling television ever. As much as I love AEW, that run right there, incredible. Incredible pay-per-view after incredible pay-per-view, incredible stories, incredible characters. It was so well done. While the aesthetic was a bit hit and miss now and then. I like the black and gold stuff, but it just felt a little bit smaller. The pay-per-views, takeovers looked exceptional, but actually in Full Sail, you get the vibe, but it wasn't, big time. It didn't feel big time. It felt like an indie show, which is what they were going for. But I watched a bit of Raw last night with Triple H taking over. He's fully got the creative, and to me, it's just night and day. It's not night and day in terms of the presentation. It still looks like Raw. It completely does. But the matches, the stories, and the stuff that's been cut, I think is just, it's black and white, it's night and day, completely different to what it used to be. And that's so refreshing. I'm going to talk about the triple threat match between AJ Styles, Mustafa Ali, and The Miz. Great match. Absolutely great. I can't remember the time we had a match that good on Raw. The only one that seems to come to mind is the triple threat match between the Street Profits, Alpha Academy, and RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team titles. But this match had so many cool spots in it. Mustafa Ali doing a diving tornado DDT on the floor. I don't think you would have seen that in a Vince McMahon era Raw. The finish of a 450 splash into a Styles Clash. Mind-blowing. That's a pay-per-view level finish that we're getting on TV. There were hardly any rematches. There were just 4 consistent stories throughout the night. The women's division, Edge and the Judgment Day, the triple threat for the United States title, and I'm completely blanking on the other one. Oh, Seth Rollins and Montez Ford. So further in the Riddle feud. That's so good for a sort of 3-hour show. That it wasn't filled with nonsense and squash matches and matches that don't mean anything. It built up the United States title in a way that I didn't really think was possible. Triple H got to do more work with the Intercontinental title, because that has been buried even further than the United States title has. But making it feel special, making all the guys vying for it feel special and unique. That's what I liked about that triple threat match, is you got each person's character Miz is the dastardly heel on the outside. You've got the crafty, babyface veteran in AJ Styles, and you've got the high-flying risk taker of Mustafa Ali. Everyone had defined characters in that match. And I want that to progress further on the main roster and make people feel more special. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room for me, and I think it's very telling that he hasn't been a part of the shows, and that is the absence of Omos, because he was being pushed to the moon because he's tall. And you look at who's now being pushed to the moon: indie wrestling star, former NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa. It's just two completely different visions of what wrestling should be. One that's stuck in the 80s with giant sell tickets, and another one that is sort of on the pulse of what indie wrestling and the wider landscape of wrestling is, and that is work rate and character. So that is just insane to me, absolutely insane to me, that taking one person, well, technically two, because John Laurinaitis as well, taking those two people out of the system and just replacing them with Triple H has changed just so much, and it's far more digestible for us as an audience. And I think that shows in the ratings. So the ratings came out. Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics has said that it was 2.2 million viewers for Raw, and that is the highest it has been, the highest TV rating for Raw in 2 years. Mental. I get there's probably a lot of lapsed fans, a lot of really hardcore wrestling fans that want to tune in and see what Triple H is doing with the product, so it's probably that curiosity factor right there. It's if they can continue that momentum, because of course you see like AEW gets a boost when they tease CM Punk's debut on Rampage, for instance, or they've got a big announcement, they get a spike, all that kind of stuff. So we'll have to see if it's a consistent ratings boost, if the product is good, will it continue to thrive, or is there just a decline in wrestling as a whole? I don't think there is. I really don't think there is, because you look at AEW's doing great, Forbidden Door did great. You've got all these other shows. GCW's doing great at the moment. There is an appetite for good wrestling out there. And if Triple H can, do wonders with the product and reboot it and revitalise it, I think that'll be the turning point. And we'll start getting consistently good WWE again. When I think the official turning point will be, I genuinely think that we didn't get the full reset after SummerSlam. We got drip-fed little bits like Ciampa's going for the US title and there's no 24/7 championship. You got that sort of thing. I think post Clash at the Castle, because I feel like Drew is going to win, he's going to beat Roman in the UK, and that'll sort of be the cut-off point. Roman's no longer champion. We've got Drew. Let's completely reinvent the WWE product, maybe have a draft, and that'd be a perfect setting off point for this new era of WWE. But what does that new era hold? So what I'm most happy and most excited about going forward, I think the women's division is going to be fantastic. I think looking at the talent on both sides, the blue brand and the red brand, I think it's going to be phenomenal. Of course, you've got Control, Bianca Belair, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, all over on Raw. Then you've got Ronda Rousey, Liv Morgan, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, who is a terrifically underrated worker, Natalia, sure. And you've got quite a stacked area on the blue brand. Maybe a few call-ups there to sort of spice it up a little bit. And then you've got two solid women's divisions. And the way they're treating Bianca Belair right now, fantastic. She's by default the main champion on Raw. And I think position her as that, which is what they've done. It's incredible. If you treat these titles and these champions with respect, they will be draws and they will be big stars. It's not difficult. People are organically into Bianca Belair, and she feels like a top star now, which is great. Absolutely great. I think match quality will probably improve, because the one thing I found with the main roster product, was that it was almost like they were wrestling in slow motion or wrestling underwater. I feel like they have just so much more speed and energy in the tank, and I think you saw that from Monday Night Raw with the triple threat matches and the AJ Styles Ciampa match. So I'm very excited to see how the work rate evolves. And finally, long-term storytelling. If you're doing television, you need to have long-term storytelling. You absolutely do, because otherwise there's no hook. You're not coming back for more. You know, you watch like, I don't know, even like The Flash, which just got cancelled. That had long-term storytelling, long-term arcs. You start a story here, maybe drip feed some elements in throughout, and you have the conclusion at the end, which then sets up the next big story. That very rarely happened under Vince McMahon. We very rarely got satisfying conclusions to any feuds. Absolutely any feuds. And if there were a satisfying conclusion, the conclusion was Roman Reigns just won. That's it. Perhaps the most unsatisfying conclusion I can think of is the Finn Balor Roman Reigns match from Extreme Rules. That had no payoff. That just ended with Roman beating him via God. So hopefully we'll get more decisive finishes than that, and we can have just long form storytelling from week to week with great exhibition matches in there. That's all we want. That's all I want from Raw at the moment. I don't want it to, change the wrestling landscape and change how wrestling on TV is perceived. It just needs to get back into a mold of being consistently good, and then we can go from there. We as wrestling fans are very, very forgiving about things. We will come back again and again and again, no matter how many times we're saying we'll get rid of the WWE network. Never happens. We always resubscribe, and yeah, we are fickle. Fickle, as Daniel Bryan would call us. And that's essentially it. I'm just really excited for where this is going. Really, really excited. Would I even consider watching Raw and SmackDown again? Depends how good it got. If the buzz is that great, that these shows are consistently good, I may well tune in and watch them. That's another 5 hours of wrestling though per week. So whether I could physically do that with time, we will see. But it's exciting. It is hella exciting to be a wrestling fan right now. And I want to know what you guys think of the changes down in the comments below. Let me know if you're going to go back to watching Raw and SmackDown. I want to know. And hit subscribe for more wrestling content. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.